so much playing this music because I would like to imagine that the sounds come magically without the opening note with the consonant, but directly with the vowel, and in exhaling, and really imitate the harp of Debussy on the piano of Debussy. By playing in the keys and then dropping deeper and not from above, so I don't hear each note with the tonguing if it was a wind instrument. But and then have this kind of sense of flow. Like the receding waters and the flux and reflux. And the melody spawn and blossoming, but not all at once, as if it comes from the nucleus of the arpeggio. Or even less early. And finally blossom at the dominant ninth. In this arabesque by Debussy, the 2 against 3 is really the ideal nonchalant attitude. Which I like to imagine barless, not imagining that they're group of beats within group of bars that organize sub-phrases or hypermeters. Of course they are, when you look at the score, it's organized very strictly, but when you hear it, it appears to be just coming from an improvisatory moment, as if reminiscent from some distant memory. Little by little, it becomes more real. Oh yeah, that's what it was. And Debussy is very good at these atmospheric moments where within few notes he establishes an atmosphere that immediately talks to us about not only the mood but the psychology of the moment. I find that to be very much the case with even Chopin. It seems to be always the case when composers have another instrument in mind than the piano for which or through which they play, and therefore compose the piece that evokes the other instrument, the harp, the organ, perhaps the aeolian, I mean, any kind of flow or wind, but solid. Everything that seems to be like the soul, not shapeable, it just sort of exists and it takes its space. It sort of overwhelms us with wellness in the case of the Debussy. It's frankly not in minor nor in major, it's between the two. And thankfully he didn't do as many reproductions of the pattern as my digression just did. And then the 2 against 3. Some kind of poetry of the idle being, perhaps of a flow of a river, like the Seine River in Paris, or in any water that is constantly in movement but appears to be also at the same time static, from far away seen as such. And there is this poetry of the static moment, or ecstatic moment, of Erik Satie, who was a great inspiration to Debussy in a minimalist kind of writing compared to Debussy. Ravel, to express the water directly in the title, or because of the title, or perhaps the title because of the waves, the chicken, the hen or the egg, or opposite. Because in fact, in Barque sur l'Océan, you feel the waves. Here it's less. What's very striking is the capacity of letting the bass line drop by step and create its own slow flow, while the right hand reaches the highest note as an expectation that doesn't fulfill. It's not. Immediately sounds banal and terrible when you do an alternative what if situation, but then you appreciate the escaped, the G sharp, the E. So you have something rising and then immediately dropping and in flow. If it could be played faster, could be played more evenly, or perhaps with a rubato. As soon as you start the rubato, it sounds so zigzagging and uncertain, and it adds even more to that sense of suspended expectation. It's all about the dominant, the expectation, and hanging in expectation. It's almost like as if we are in the flotation. And these effects of the chords are very tender because of the sixth chords, which have this kind of soothing feeling compared to the 6/4 chords. You have something more calling for the dominant, therefore attention release whenever this is already released. But when he starts the melodic anthem, interesting, Debussy's anthem, should be the French anthem. He would have liked that, as he always called himself Claude de France, rather Claude Achille Debussy. But beyond this nationalism, the eighth notes by 4 slow down the pace of the triplets of the beginning, but the triplets are superimposed. And then the merging into the new flow or traffic, the syncopation anticipating, always coming tiny bit earlier, but so tiny bit that it's not perceptible as an accelerando, more as an expectation of an excitement that starts very, very distantly. While the left hand remains very 8 by 8 eighth notes, and the right hand in syncopation, as if it's saying, come with me, let's go there. Where is that? And almost like an emerging oboe on the harp, more sharp sound that drops while rising for each bar. He doesn't use those diminished sevenths. Again, the rising of the escaped and then drop. Affirming itself. There's something so orchestral and so complex in the simplicity when Satie keeps just one melody with enigmatic chords of the left hand that sort of suggest a pattern harmonically of a plagal cadence 4/1, as if the right hand is not part of the left hand, not only by tonality but just in another reality, and the left hand just staying more distant, but one voice. And here he does have one voice in the beginning. Debussy has one voice. And starting from the Ascension, he starts having two voices in the right hand layered. And notes are the common notes of the thirds inside the key, so you don't hear fa, la, sol, si, la, do. Promised myself I won't teach singing because it's so silly, but sometimes it comes out without asking. Echo cells and not echo hells. It's really interesting to see if that there is a meaning of term of endearment more than assessment or insistence by repeating it, and also using the softness of the thirds, the same softness in the thirds of the sixth chords in the opening first inversions. Like balloons lifting in the air. And instead of theme, he gives us leitmotif so that he doesn't develop by thrusts. As wavy in terms of hairpin. I could do it more linear melodically, but flexible in the rubato by thrusts of 3 notes or 2 beats, and then by it 4 beats in a bar, because then it becomes very matter-of-factish instead of being just on the spur of the moment. That was directly dropping throughout instead of rising and making hairpin. not that it's wrong or right, it is exploring and finding the flow as well as the pace and this kind of balance. It's almost like improvised narrative speech. He doesn't do it on every bar. He doesn't say to bring the bass, nor the tenor, or the alto, or the soprano. But it's really string quartet writing. Important quality of the legato, legatissimo, moltissimo, connectissimo, as if the fingers don't want to leave and stay in the daydream, like when you wake up of it. So you put less pedal of the right foot, so you don't have to have all the dampers up, but you hold with your fingers. And you obtain that color that is sort of fuzzy, dreamy. And as soon as you want, you can make a little more sharp sound. Or go back into the fuzzy, dreamy. And all the leaps are on the syncopation, so if I anticipate, I give it even more meaning to that. But should I have to give more than already the rhythm implements by the syncopation? Is probably a seductive tool for the interpretation. It's nothing to do with being rhythmically correct or being rubato unstable. I think it's more about wanting to be there already. When we started with so much step motion, overholding the keys and releasing them after the harmony has blossomed from the arpeggiation. And then we have the... This time the syncopation is in the bass and it drives us up by being always off the beat. And the arpeggiation of the right hands precedes by this almost banal, but it's not, while it is, production of the pattern and the sequence ascending fourths. Imitation probably was not meant by him to be brought out, but I find it very compelling. And then this time the echo cell is not reminiscence or tenderness, it's really an insistence. In this case it's almost as a willingness to reach the point which he doesn't do because he interrupts that. Kaleidoscope. It reveals itself differently each time you play it. The lights, the shadows, the moods. composition seems to be the greatest stylistic culture and finesse of the composer. Fauré has these one of his songs, Clair de Lune. And here it seems like he's reaching the point and recedes back to the opening. And I find it very compelling that he has the melodic line in half notes when in the beginning he doesn't hold the high note, as if the arpeggios become the melody and become the harmony. Always the linear layering while the harmonic vertical dressing. The opposite directions of the bass exponentially expanding with the melody. All this is nothing compared to what it is to be played rather than spoken. In the thematic material, so it seems to be spawned from the arpeggio of left hand. That's what he didn't do. Nothing more. Very carefully chosen where to be thematic, leitmotivic. Very much like blending in its environment. And then just appearing. Inside it's the harmonic soup. It's so tempting to constantly do rubato, to constantly let it flow and feel the flux and the reflux. And I'm sure if I hear it, I would think, oh, it's too much. But while I play it, perhaps the pleasure of the harmonic melodic combination that comes from the industry of playing it makes us more contemplative by playing it, oddly. And so also because I want to communicate it, then I try to seduce in the good sense of the interpretational meaning. But the piece is already seductive as it is. Does it need my makeup on top? Perhaps in part, and not entirely, because somehow it is my moment to play it. While the text was here before and will be after us as well. Over holding the notes almost reluctant. FA in the GB, GB in the AAC, and the EAC in the AC repeated. Ha ha. And not, but inside the keys. Oh, it doesn't say how much is the hairpin between piano and piano. Does it rise to mezzo or piano? Mezzo forte. And once you're taken in it by the playing of it, you go further than you should. And the pizzicati with resonance of the pedal in the left hand, and the triplets without pattern, and the melodic scale of the appoggiatura on top after the step motion. So it doesn't need me. It should just rise by itself. And if I add to it, as soon as I try, I feel it's too much. But if I don't do it, then I don't feel like I'm involved enough. So I should not be too involved. I should just let it blossom in front of you musically, and me just in the back making sure that I give it the right amount of thrust so it unveils itself naturally. It's probably the limit of teaching the undescribed, the unnotated, the unmeant in the score in terms of notation, that leaves for that in between the lines expression of a slight delay or slight expectation, which by a nano moment becomes affected, and without which it might be too strict. Plus acoustics, instrument. So when you put all this in the equation, really the ground of it is the legato, but the real one, the one that holds through. The finger legato. And the repeated note melodically, and not repeated with the consonant. Finally, in the whole arabesque, there is only one section that had solid brass-like imagination orchestral sound. The chorale without triplets, without flow, without 3 against 4 or 2 against 3, just very much vertical and austere compared to the E major, and dominant of A or just on its own, and then the mediant, and the rapport of C major coming as a color more than the modulation. Because if he not, what is the problem? If we transpose it, have been still in E major as we were, and all of a sudden C major comes like breath of fresh air. He doesn't go further into surprise harmonically, just where and when he needs it. Subtle modulation transition, the art of the bridge. Does he want the melody suspended in half notes without the arpeggio that blends within? Something very aquatic, something like fishes in the water. I think many composers do that ambiguous connection between accompaniment and melody intertwining in a way that, yes, they should be layered, but they also should blend in a certain way. They are part of the same material, or the same dream. If not, it's easy to separate them, but here at some point the melody and the harmony and the accompaniment just blend. It's exactly like in the 7th waltz from Ravel's Valse Noble. The E stinato goes on the 4 arpeggio, I'm sorry, not arpeggio, octaves. And the melody has that little E. That is part of it, or is it part of the accompaniment? And here the same. Do you hear? Or in a way, in an orchestration, it would be, by the essence of the timbre difference between the instruments, it would be compartmented. And in the piano, because of the unity of sound, quality, color, other than the shadows you can do with soft and light, dark, and yeah, chiaroscuro, or inside. Allowing it to blend, and then again disjoin it. When he's singing it alone and finishing to return in the flow of the triplets. How lucky we are, he didn't write 16th notes. Would have been very pretty too. Who would have said, oh my god, terrible, Debussy doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, but 3 against 3 is just so... And nobody knows what to say, me the first. Nonchalant was my original idea. Like a scarf that just drops with the wind around your neck. I can dwell on it, improvisatory. And immediately sounds so cheesy. That's the art of the dosage. He does it when he needs, and he doesn't overdo it, and he always gives you something that hopefully you expect, and sometimes refreshingly surprise, and then returns it in a way that you didn't realize you're almost home when you thought you were so far away in the modulation. So is it evocative of well-being or of some kind of sadness because it's the rememoration of the well-being that used to be? It's not frankly only nostalgic, but it is also. We don't know if this happiness, this well-being is in the present or in the reminiscence of a past. And it doesn't really matter. Because we're well in it when we are in it. And we don't want to leave it. Don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. it pharmaceutically. It's just the taste, the moods, the atmosphere. Who cares which key? Just to call it something. Like the harp without dampers, the piano also can imitate it. I think I added a ledger line by adding a B. It's only EG, not GB. I'm so sorry, Claude Achille. And then this octave at the end. It's not a pizzicato, it's not a tenuto, it's perhaps a little bit longer than a pizzicato, but shorter than a tenuto, and in a way a neutral octave that is no major, no minor, instead of perhaps just disappearing in the air, he still has to be this kind of mysterious octave end. After it was so sweetly harmonized, it's not like he did. But the added sixth root position, triad. Perhaps voiced, or just interrupting the silence. Perhaps. Thank you.